Welcome to day 3 of my vlog of my trip to the Lake District. And if you've missed day 1 and 2, don't worry, you can catch up after you've watched this one. And there's Mike departing to East Fortune, which is near Edinburgh. If you want to watch his trip, after you watch my video, of course, he's done an excellent video of that. But back to my takeoff. I've got a couple of shots of me taking off from the Troutbeck. And I forgot to switch on the cockpit camera until I was just climbing out. See a little bit of moisture blowing off the nose and onto the windscreen, and heading out to the east. That's the Pennines in the distance, and swinging round. A fantastically clear day on the east side of the on the west side of the country, and this is going to be our route. Let's just zoom in here a bit. There we are, starting at Troutbeck, heading south of Penrith, over near Teesside to Croft Disused, then avoiding the controlled space around RAF Leeming, which is still active, and Topcliffe, follow down past Harrogate, past Wetherby, and into Sherburn and Elmet for fuel. So that's the route, and this is us just taking off. There's behind the wing there is Troutbeck, just coming round and setting course. So the Lake District looked fantastic, not a cloud in the sky. And we're just looking at the water on the left. There is Ullswater. There's more of Ullswater there. And we passed over the end of Ullswater. There's a classic car show near Lowther Castle. Castle being just the other side of the road here. There we are, there's Lowther Castle. That's the M6 looking south towards Shap. And this was kind of crossed the Pennines without really realising it. And suddenly we're almost the other side. And I started to get down low because of the controlled airspace near Teesside. I was speaking to Teesside, they had me squawking, so they knew where I was going and what I was doing. And they're saying I was going to use Croft Disused Airfield as a turning point. So, as you can see, there's a little bit of cloud up ahead. And that was going to be the case for the next few miles. Here we are, just coming up to Croft Disused. That's there's a large bomber station during the war, and there's the main runway. You can just see by those trees there is a racing circuit there now, some cars whizzing around. You can see the perimeter track, and then, as I say, looking right down the main runway of Croft. I had my reasons to go into that particular airfield, and hope to do a YouTube video about that at a later date. So the other end of that is Teesside controlled airspace, so I turned away from that over Catterick race course and Studley Deer Park, and then it was time to arrive at Sherburn. I have to enter in between two building areas, so that's a big arrow. We joined overhead there, and as you can see there's a little bit of high cloud blocking out the sun at this time. So the railway line on the right hand side of the cockpit there is a good navigation aid, and unfortunately the nose is just blocking the airfield, but you can see the large industrial buildings on the left. They come right up to the boundary of the airfield, and you'll see that in a moment when we're landing. So now we're downwind. It's a hard runway, but we were going round to land on the grass runway. And we're joined now on the base leg, ready for runway 06. So the runway is up near those white buildings, and we're on base leg at the moment. It was fairly busy at Sherburn. It was a Sunday, but a lot of people were out flying. The railway lines are a great navigation aid for finding the airfield, and turning now onto finals at runway 06. The actual terminal buildings for the airfield are over onto the right. You can see a hangar door open there. This stage just given a little tickle of power just to fly a little bit further down the runway, so I didn't have to so far to taxi. Holding it off. There we are. There's the mains down. And there's the nose down. So it's quite handy landing that direction. You're not too far from the hangars there, which are just off to the right, as you can see. Well, one of the reasons we come here was to get some fuel, and also to see my friend Andy, who's now based here. And he very kindly took some video of me taxiing in. So it's lovely to meet up with Andy. We had something to eat. We went and visited, saw his house, because he doesn't live too far from the airfield.
You must be Stuart.
How are you doing? So the next route from there was from Sherburn down the east side. Now Andy put me on to the fact that Doncaster, Finningley as it used to be, is now disused, and you can fly right over it, and the Vulcan is parked there. So that was a good place to go and visit. Then pick up the River Trent, head south, avoiding all those airspace, past Langer to that large aerial. Oops, sorry about that. Past Saltby, Rutland Water, duck underneath Wittering's airspace, and to Deenethorpe. So that's 98 miles, that leg. The last leg had been 114 miles. So here we are, taxiing out and lining up on runway 06 to take off for departure down to Deenethorpe. Avoiding the muddy patch there, or the bare grass. It wasn't muddy at all, it was very dry. As I say, it was August. Climbing out, saying goodbye to Sherburn. Fantastic cafe at the airfield. Had a really good lunch. Next to it is a meeting place for kind of classic cars, etc. Then we passed over the Don Aqueduct and then headed further south to look for what was RAF Finningley and the Vulcan parked up there. You come down fairly low because it is a disused airfield, and it is going to be opened again in 2026. And then past a lovely windmill. Then the next navigation aid that I picked up, River Trent, and that's looking down as it heads south. Well, it's coming towards you. It's flowing north at that stage. Navigating on that side of the country used to be very easy because all the way along the River Trent there used to be these huge power stations, but so many of them now have been demolished. It is a navigation. They have weirs to keep the levels set, and of course locks to go around the weirs. RAF Deenethorpe, disused, now Newark Showground, so it's being put to good use, I guess. The next airfield was RAF Bottisford, now being used for car storage by the looks of things. Amazing how the trees have grown up on where the runway's been ploughed up. A huge number of cars all parked up there, and if I just zoom in there you can see these are parked face to face, which looks a wee bit strange. Next was Belvoir Castle, site of the Duke of Rutland's estate, and then down to Langer Mast. Huge mast, certainly something you need to see in that area. Then over Rutland Water, past Laxton Hall, and then coming along the Harringworth Viaduct. Save you counting it, there's 82 arches there. Built in 1875, all brick built over the River Welland, and it's about 60 feet tall on average across the river. Pretty impressive landmark. Down we come. There's a lovely view. I had the camera on the wrong side there, unfortunately, but it does give a good view of how big it is. And then we're coming up to Deenethorpe. Going to cross across midfield and join downwind. Was RAF Deenethorpe, but was station 128 of the United States Army Air Force. Huge long runway. I think it's 2 miles long or something ridiculous. So come over, join mid downfield. Downwind, I should say. Around we come. I'd heard everybody on the radios had been approaching, they'd all been departing. There was nobody else there, so let's see. Join. The reason I'd come here is there was a charity event on. I'd hoped to get there earlier in the day, as it was just got it and it was finishing up. So here we are, coming round onto finals. Runway markings miles down. Lovely shot there of the shadow coming in to meet the aircraft. I was thinking, the further I fly down here, the further I got to taxi back. So I gave up at the end. It's all in very good condition, as you can see. I think I landed just before the actual runway markings, and promptly turned round and taxied all the way back in. A few other aircraft just getting ready to depart as I came in. There's a swung round here. You can see Courtney, Dave Stanfield and Dave Lord. Just filling in the log, getting myself out. The old bones don't move as easy as they used to. Out we come. Set the aircraft down on its tail. You can see that flag there, it's really fluttering away. And that's Amanda and Dave Lord, who had organised the event in remembrance of Claire Lomas. They got a Just Giving page trying to make it up to 1 million, which was her goal before she died. And that page is still open in 2026. So the next leg is 150 miles from Deenethorpe there, across north of Northampton, below Birmingham, and straight down to Old Park Farm in South Wales. Pretty straight run. Don't have to talk to anybody actually all the way. So here we are, taxiing out at Deenethorpe. Made a decision to go back. It is about 6 o'clock in the evening now. You can see the windsock blowing from the east. The prevailing wind in England is always from the southwest. So have an easterly wind to help you get home is unusual. So I thought I'd take advantage of it. You can see it's quite a steady wind there. It certainly helped me on my way home. And I was glad because the forecast for the next day was showers of rain and what have you, and it certainly turned out to be that lower cloud. So this was the right decision. So straight onto the runway, start rolling. Didn't need the whole 2 miles to take off. There's the beginning of the runway. I had the airfield to myself at this time. Everybody had left. I got to a reasonable height and turned right into the circuit and left the circuit from the downwind leg. Round, looking to the south, fantastic visibility. Cloud which it had earlier in the day had burnt off, which was good. There's the runway. Looking there in the distance you can see Corby Town. Climbing round. Climbing up to, I think I flew most of the way about 3.5. Just juggling with the height to see where there was any better wind. There's Oldthorpe Estate, where Lady Di was laid to rest. HS2 construction, looking like a huge scar across the landscape. And here's in the area of Cotswolds near Broadway, I think. Just having a look around. Heading towards the sun, but the sun's still fairly high this time of the year. Didn't say it was August. Fields, stubble fields at that time of the year. Great if you had to have a forced landing. Just have a look at the instruments here as well, I think. Yeah, there we are. That's about 3,600, indicating 80 knots, but given a ground speed, we had about 89 miles per hour for the whole trip. So I was very pleased. That wind definitely helped. Over the Big Pit National Coal Museum as we came towards Wales, and then finally to Swansea Bay. Speed this up, landing on runway 12, the easterly runway at Old Park Farm. Speed it up. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you've watched all 3 all the way to the end, you deserve a medal. Let's say there's the links here to the other ones. If you have happened to miss those other days, you might enjoy those as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.